Tonight we're diving into the secret life of algorithms. Forget everything Hollywood told you. This is the real story, and trust me, you probably wouldn't last a day. So before you get too comfortable, hit that like button if you enjoy this kind of deep dive, and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Now, dim the lights, maybe grab a snack, and let's jump in. It's 6:47 a.m. Your alarm doesn't go off because you forgot to charge your phone. But that's not why you wake up. You wake up because somewhere in a server farm 1700 miles away, an algorithm just decided you need to see an ad for mattresses. The notification buzz jolts you awake. Welcome to Tuesday. You reach for your phone, squinting at the screen. 23 notifications. Instagram knows you stayed up until 2 a.m. watching reels about cats that look like Renaissance paintings. TikTok has already calculated that you're 73% more likely to engage with content about failed cooking attempts before 7 a.m. And Gmail has been sorting your emails all night, deciding which desperate work messages deserve to ruin your morning first. But here's what you don't see. Behind that innocent home screen, there's a war happening. A digital battle royale where thousands of algorithms are fighting for the most valuable real estate in the known universe, your attention. And buddy, they're not playing fair. Let me paint you a picture. Right now, as you're watching this video, there are approximately 4.7 billion people online. That's 4.7 billion human brains generating roughly 2.5 quintillion bytes of data every single day. We're talking about enough information to fill 10 million Blu-ray discs every single day. And guess who's organizing this chaos? Not humans. We gave up on that somewhere around 2009. No, this job belongs to our silicon overlords, the algorithms. These mathematical entities that we created, that we fed, that we taught to think, well, sort of think. They don't actually think the way you and I do. They process, they calculate, they optimize. And most importantly, they never ever sleep. You know that friend who remembers everything, every embarrassing thing you did at that party in 2015. Every time you said you'd definitely hang out soon, but never did. Multiply that by infinity and give it the processing power of a small country. That's what we're dealing with here. These algorithms know things about you that you don't even know about yourself. They can predict when you're going to break up with your partner before you've even had the fight. They know you're pregnant before you've taken the test. Hell, Target's algorithm famously figured out a teenage girl was pregnant before her father did, sending her coupons for baby clothes and cribs. Awkward family dinner doesn't even begin to cover it. But wait, it gets better, or worse, depending on how you look at it. These algorithms aren't just passive observers, they're active participants in your life. They're matchmakers, deciding who you might fall in love with on dating apps. They're career counselors, determining whether your resume makes it past the first round. They're even judges, literally, in some jurisdictions, helping decide whether defendants get bail or go to jail. And the craziest part, most of them are complete mysteries, even to the people who created them. We're talking about neural networks with millions of parameters, deep learning systems that have evolved so far beyond their original programming that their own developers can't fully explain how they reach their conclusions. It's like we've built a bunch of genies, granted them phenomenal cosmic power, and then lost the instruction manual. So here you are, still in bed, thumb hovering over Instagram. You tap. Immediately, an algorithm springs into action. It knows you spent 3.7 seconds looking at that picture of your ex's new car yesterday. It knows you scroll faster when you're anxious, slower when you're bored. It knows that you're 47% more likely to buy something if it's shown to you between 7 and 8 a.m. on a Tuesday. Don't ask me how it knows. Actually, do ask me. That's why we're here. The Instagram algorithm isn't just one algorithm. Oh no, that would be too simple. It's more like a Russian nesting doll of algorithms, each one more sophisticated than the last. First, there's the ranking algorithm. This bad boy looks at every single post from every account you follow and asks itself a series of questions. How likely are you to spend time on this post? How likely are you to like it? Comment, share, save. Each action has a weight, a value in the grand economy of engagement. But that's just the appetizer. The main course is the recommendation algorithm. This is the one that decides to show you that video of a guy making a knife out of milk. You didn't search for it. You didn't ask for it. But the algorithm knew. It knew because 3 weeks ago you watched a video about Japanese sword making all the way through. And 2 months before that, you liked a post about weird food facts. Connect the dots, throw in some machine learning magic, and boom, knife made from milk. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so what? They show me stuff I might like. Big deal. But here's where it gets dark. These algorithms aren't trying to make you happy. They're not your friends. They have one job and one job only. Keep you scrolling, keep you watching, keep you engaged, and they've gotten scary good at it. Studies show that the average person spends 2 hours and 38 minutes on social media every day. That's over 40 days a year. 40 days, you could learn a language in 40 days. You could write a novel. You could finally clean out that garage you've been avoiding since 2019. But instead we're watching strangers argue about whether a hot dog is a sandwich. And here's the kicker. The algorithms know exactly what they're doing to us. They know that controversial content gets more engagement. They know that outrage is addictive. They know that FOMO, fear of missing out, keeps us coming back. They've weaponized our own psychology against us, and we're paying them for the privilege. You scroll past a political post. The algorithm notes that you slowed down for 1.3 seconds, not enough to count as engagement, but enough to register interest. File that away. You'll be seeing more of that whether you want to or not. You watch a video about conspiracy theories just to laugh at how ridiculous it is. Congratulations, you've just told the algorithm you're interested in conspiracy theories. Hope you enjoy your new recommended feed full of flat earth debates and birds aren't real manifestos. The algorithm doesn't care about context. It doesn't understand irony. It doesn't get that you were hate watching. All it knows is that you watched, and watching equals wanting more. It's like having a really enthusiastic but completely clueless personal assistant who keeps bringing you things based on a fundamental misunderstanding of who you are. But wait, there's more. These algorithms are also talking to each other. Your Instagram behavior influences your Facebook feed. Your Facebook activity affects what ads you see on Google. Your Google searches determine what products Amazon recommends. It's all connected in a vast web of data exchange that would make even the most paranoid conspiracy theorists say, okay, that's a bit much. Let me tell you about shadow profiles. Even if you've never created a Facebook account, if you've never posted a single selfie on Instagram, if you're that one person who actually read the terms and conditions and said no thanks, guess what? They still know who you are. Your friends uploaded their contacts. Your mom tagged you in photos. That restaurant you went to last week, someone checked in and mentioned you were there. Congratulations, you have a shadow profile. You're in the system whether you signed up or not. And these profiles, they're detailed. We're talking about your political leanings, your income bracket, your relationship status, whether you're thinking about buying a car, whether you're depressed, whether you're gay, straight, or still figuring it out. All of this from data you never knowingly provided. It's like having a stalker, but one that's really good at math and has a photographic memory. Comment below if you've ever gotten an ad for something you were just thinking about. Seriously, I want to know if I'm the only one who thinks these algorithms might be psychic. Or maybe we're just that predictable. Either way, it's unsettling, but here's something that'll really bake your noodle. These algorithms aren't just predicting your behavior, they're changing it. There's a feedback loop happening here. The algorithm shows you content. You respond to that content. The algorithm learns from your response and adjusts what it shows you next. Over time, you're not just consuming content curated by the algorithm, you're being shaped by it. Think about it. Your political views, your taste in music, your sense of humor, even your vocabulary, all of these are being influenced by what the algorithm decides to put in front of you. You think you're making choices, but are you really, or are you just selecting from a menu that's been carefully crafted to guide you toward a predetermined outcome? It's 7:15 a.m. now. You've been scrolling for almost half an hour. You haven't even gotten out of bed yet. The algorithm has already won the first battle of the day. But don't worry, it's about to get worse, because now you need to check your email, and oh boy, Gmail's algorithm has been busy while you were sleeping. You see, Gmail doesn't just deliver your email, that would be too simple, too pure, too 1995. No, Gmail reads your email, all of it, every love letter, every angry rant, every embarrassing confession to your best friend about that thing that happened at the office Christmas party. And it's not reading for entertainment. It's reading for data. What kind of language do you use? What products do you mention? What are your travel plans? What are your deepest fears and desires as expressed in the very private conversation you thought you were having with your therapist, but were actually having with Google's neural network? All of this goes into the hopper, gets processed, analyzed, categorized, and monetized. And before you say, "But I have nothing to hide," let me stop you right there. It's not about having something to hide. It's about having something that's yours, something private, something that isn't being fed into a machine learning model to better predict what kind of toilet paper you're most likely to buy. Remember when email was revolutionary? When the idea that you could send a message to someone on the other side of the world instantly and for free seemed like magic. Now it's just another data harvesting operation. Another way for algorithms to crawl inside your head and rearrange the furniture. But the email algorithm isn't just reading, it's sorting, prioritizing, deciding what deserves your attention and what gets buried in the promotions tab to die a slow, unread death. That important message from your boss. Spam folder. That newsletter you actually wanted to read. Also spam, but that email from a Nigerian prince who needs your help transferring millions of dollars that somehow made it through. You finally drag yourself out of bed. Your phone says it's going to rain, but you look outside and see blue skies. The weather algorithm got it wrong. Again. You'd think with all our technology, with satellites and supercomputers and machine learning models trained on decades of meteorological data, we'd be able to predict whether water will fall from the sky. But no, the algorithm is basically just making educated guesses, and today it guessed wrong. But here's the thing about weather algorithms that nobody talks about. They're not actually trying to be right all the time. They're trying to be useful most of the time. There's a difference. The algorithm would rather tell you it might rain and be wrong than not warn you and leave you soaked. It's playing a numbers game, optimizing for overall satisfaction rather than perfect accuracy. This is a recurring theme you're going to notice. Algorithms aren't seeking truth. They're seeking optimization. They're looking for the sweet spot where they're right often enough that you keep trusting them, but wrong often enough that, well, you still need them. It's a delicate balance, like a casino that needs to let people win just often enough to keep them playing. You decide to go for a run. You strap on your fitness tracker, the one that's supposed to motivate you to be healthier. Little do you know, you've just activated another set of algorithms that are about to judge every aspect of your physical existence. Your heart rate, your pace, your cadence, the efficiency of your stride. All of it is being measured, analyzed, and compared to statistical models of what a healthy human should be doing. But here's where it gets interesting. Your fitness tracker isn't just tracking your fitness, it's tracking your location, your sleep patterns, your stress levels. Some of them can even detect when you're having sex. Yeah, let that sink in for a moment. Your watch knows when you're getting busy, and it's storing that data in the cloud, where it's being analyzed by algorithms to better understand your behavior patterns. Insurance companies are particularly interested in this data. Some of them offer discounts if you share your fitness tracker data with them. Sounds great, right? Save money just for being healthy. Except what happens when the algorithm notices you've been skipping your runs? What happens when it detects elevated stress levels that might indicate a health problem? What happens when it figures out you're not getting enough sleep because you've been binge-watching Netflix until 3 a.m. every night? Suddenly your insurance premium goes up, not because you filed a claim, not because you got sick, but because an algorithm predicted you might get sick based on your behavior patterns. You're being punished for crimes you haven't committed yet. It's like Minority Report, but instead of predicting murder, they're predicting diabetes. As you run, your phone is doing something else. It's tracking your route, your speed, the places you stop. This data isn't just being used by your fitness app. It's being aggregated, anonymized, supposedly, and sold to companies that use it for everything from urban planning to targeted advertising. That new coffee shop that opened up right on your regular running route, that wasn't a coincidence. They knew exactly where to put it because they bought data showing hundreds of runners passing that corner every morning. Your run takes you past a series of traffic cameras. Each one captures your image, runs it through facial recognition algorithms. In some cities, these systems can track your movement across the entire metropolitan area. They know where you've been, where you're going, who you're with, and all of this data is being stored indefinitely, just in case it might be useful someday. The facial recognition algorithms are particularly fascinating. And by fascinating, I mean terrifying. They can identify you from angles you didn't know were possible. They can recognize you wearing sunglasses, a hat, even a face mask. Some of them claim they can identify you just from the way you walk. Your gait is apparently as unique as your fingerprint. Who knew? But these algorithms aren't perfect. They're actually pretty racist. Studies have shown that facial recognition systems are significantly less accurate when identifying people with darker skin tones. They're more likely to generate false positives, which means innocent people getting flagged as criminals. But the algorithms keep getting deployed anyway because, hey, they work great for white people. And apparently that's good enough. You finish your run and stop at a coffee shop. You pay with your credit card. Instantly, another algorithm springs into action. This one is looking for fraud. It knows your spending patterns, where you usually shop, how much you typically spend. If anything seems off, it'll flag the transaction. This is actually one of the more beneficial algorithms in your life. It saved you from fraud more times than you know. But it's also building a profile of you. Every purchase you make is data. That pregnancy test you bought last month. The algorithm remembers those self-help books you ordered after your breakup. The algorithm remembers the fact that you buy ice cream every time you're stressed. The algorithm definitely remembers that. This data is valuable, really valuable. Your credit card company sells it to data brokers who combine it with data from hundreds of other sources to create profiles so detailed they'd make the NSA jealous. These profiles are then sold to advertisers, employers, landlords, anyone willing to pay for insight into who you really are. Comment below if you've ever wondered why you started seeing ads for something right after buying something related. It's not magic. It's not coincidence. It's algorithms talking to each other about you behind your back. You order your coffee through the shop's app because you get points. The app's algorithm has been studying your order history. It knows you always get an extra shot on Mondays. It knows you switch to decaf after 2 p.m. It knows you're more likely to add a pastry if it's raining. All of this information is being used to personalize offers, to send you push notifications at exactly the right time to maximize the chance you'll make a purchase. But here's the really insidious part. The algorithm isn't just predicting what you want, it's influencing what you want. By showing you certain options, by highlighting certain deals, by sending notifications at certain times, it's actively shaping your preferences. You think you love caramel macchiatos, but do you really? Or is that just what the algorithm has been nudging you toward because it has a higher profit margin? While you're waiting for your coffee, you check Twitter, or X, or whatever we're calling it this week. The algorithm here is perhaps the most chaotic of all. It's not just trying to show you content you'll enjoy. It's trying to maximize engagement across the entire platform. And nothing drives engagement like controversy. The Twitter algorithm has figured out that angry people tweet more. So it shows you things that will make you angry. It knows that arguments generate more replies, more quote tweets, more activity. So it amplifies divisive content. It's literally designed to make people fight with each other because conflict is good for business. You see a tweet from someone you don't follow, saying something you strongly disagree with, you can't help yourself. You reply, "Congratulations, you've just told the algorithm you want to see more of this. You've just volunteered for more frustration, more anger, more pointless arguments with strangers on the internet." The coffee shop's Wi-Fi requires you to log in with your email. Seems harmless enough, right? Free Wi-Fi in exchange for an email address. But that's not all you're giving them. The moment you connect, your device starts broadcasting information. What kind of phone you have, what operating system you're running, what apps are installed. Some systems can even track what websites you visit while connected. This data gets fed into yet another set of algorithms. These ones are trying to figure out what kind of customer you are. Are you a regular, a tourist, a remote worker who might spend hours here buying multiple drinks? The algorithm assigns you a value, a score that determines how much effort the business should put into retaining you as a customer. If you score high enough, you might start getting personalized offers. If you score too low, you might find your emails going straight to spam. It's algorithmic discrimination, but it's perfectly legal because technically they're not discriminating against you as a person. They're discriminating against your data profile. Totally different thing. Apparently, you settle in to do some work. You open your laptop and start typing an email. Google's algorithm is watching every keystroke, not in a creepy way, it would argue, but in a helpful way. It's predicting what you're going to type next, offering to finish your sentences, smart compose, they call it. But what they don't advertise is that this algorithm is also learning your writing style, your vocabulary, your communication patterns. This data is incredibly valuable for training larger language models. Every email you write is helping to teach AI systems how humans communicate. You're essentially providing free labor to help build the AI that might eventually replace you. Ironic, isn't it? Your phone buzzes. It's a notification from LinkedIn. Someone viewed your profile. The algorithm has decided this is important enough to interrupt whatever you were doing. But here's the thing. LinkedIn's algorithm is lying to you. Well, not lying exactly, but definitely manipulating the truth. Those profile views, they're often from people who just scrolled past you in their feed. Those endorsements for skills you haven't used in years. They're prompted by the algorithm nudging your connections to engage with your profile, that job that says you're a top applicant. You and about 500 other people got the same message. LinkedIn's algorithm is designed to make you feel important, to make you feel like you're always on the verge of a big career breakthrough. It's emotional manipulation disguised as professional networking, and it works. People check LinkedIn obsessively, hoping for that next notification that will validate their professional existence. Meanwhile, on the back end, LinkedIn's algorithm is doing something else. It's analyzing your profile, your connections, your activity, and selling this data to recruiters and advertisers. That's why you keep getting messages from random recruiters about jobs you're not qualified for in cities you don't want to live in. The algorithm matched some keywords and decided you were a fit, context be damned. You decide to take a break and watch a YouTube video. Oh boy, here we go. YouTube's recommendation algorithm is perhaps the most studied, most controversial, most influential algorithm on the planet. It determines what 2 billion people watch and by extension, what they think, what they believe, what they know about the world. The algorithm doesn't care if the content is true. It doesn't care if it's harmful. It doesn't care if it's radicalizing people or spreading conspiracy theories or convincing people that the earth is flat. All it cares about is watch time, keep people watching, and the ad revenue keeps flowing. You click on one video about productivity tips. Seems innocent enough. But the YouTube algorithm has just opened a file on you. It's noted the time of day you're watching, how long you watch before clicking away, whether you like, comment, or subscribe. Within seconds, it's comparing your behavior to millions of other users who watch similar content. The algorithm has identified you as someone interested in self-improvement. But here's where it gets weird. The algorithm has learned that people who watch productivity videos are also statistically more likely to watch videos about cryptocurrency, online business opportunities, and oddly enough, ancient history conspiracies. Don't ask me to explain the connection. The algorithm doesn't understand it either. It just knows the correlation exists. So now your recommended feed is a bizarre mix of how to wake up at 4 a.m. like a Navy SEAL, why the pyramids were actually power plants, and this 19-year-old makes $50K a month dropshipping. You didn't ask for any of this, but the algorithm knows that once you start down this rabbit hole, you're likely to keep watching for the next 3 hours. And it's right. 3 hours later, you're watching a documentary about how the Roman Empire never actually fell and wondering where your morning went. The algorithm doesn't just steal your time, it warps it. It makes hours disappear without you noticing. It's like a casino where there are no clocks, no windows, just an endless stream of content designed to keep you in your seat. But here's what's really happening while you watch. The algorithm is conducting thousands of tiny experiments on you. It's testing thumbnails, seeing which ones make you click. It's analyzing your scroll speed to determine when you're getting bored. It's measuring the exact second you typically click away and adjusting video recommendations to hook you just before that moment. You're not watching YouTube. YouTube is watching you. Every pause, every replay, every time you adjust the volume or change the playback speed, it's all data. The algorithm knows if you prefer male or female voices. It knows if you're more likely to watch longer videos on weekends. It knows if you skip sponsored segments, and it definitely knows if you have an ad blocker installed. Let me know in the comments what's the weirdest rabbit hole YouTube has ever sent you down. I once started with a video about making sourdough and ended up 3 hours deep into a documentary about underground cities in Turkey. The algorithm works in mysterious ways. Meanwhile, while you're distracted by videos, your smart home devices are having a conversation about you. Your smart thermostat has noticed your home when you'd usually be at work. Your smart speaker has detected that you've been talking to yourself more than usual. Your smart TV knows you've been re-watching the same comfort shows you always watch when you're stressed. All of these devices are running algorithms, and increasingly they're sharing data with each other. Your smart fridge might notice you're running low on vegetables and share this with your fitness app, which then adjusts your health goals. Your smart doorbell might notice you're getting more food deliveries and share this with your credit card company, which might flag changes in spending patterns. It's like living with a bunch of nosy roommates who never sleep and document everything you do in a shared Google Doc that they're constantly selling to the highest bidder. Except these roommates are invisible, and you invited them in because they promised to make your life more convenient. Your phone rings. Unknown number. You don't answer because you know it's probably spam. But here's the thing. An algorithm decided you should get that call. Your phone number was selected by a predictive dialer algorithm that determined you were statistically likely to answer based on factors like your age, location, and the time of day. These robocall algorithms are getting smarter. They know when you're most likely to be available. They can spoof local numbers to make you think it's someone you know. Some of them use voice synthesis to sound like real humans. They can even detect when you're trying to waste their time and will automatically hang up. But robocalls are just the tip of the algorithmic harassment iceberg. Your email address, phone number, and physical address are being traded by algorithms on data markets you've never heard of. These algorithms match, merge, and enhance data from thousands of sources to create profiles that get sold and resold dozens of times. Ever wonder why you suddenly start getting emails about funeral insurance right after searching for information about your aging parents? That's not a coincidence. That's algorithms connecting dots you didn't even know existed. They've figured out your parents' ages based on public records, estimated their health based on your search history, and calculated the probability that you'll soon be dealing with end-of-life decisions. It's precisely targeted emotional manipulation, and it's completely legal. The algorithms don't see the cruelty in sending funeral ads to someone dealing with a family health crisis. They just see a marketing opportunity with a high conversion probability. You decide to do some online shopping to distract yourself. Big mistake. Shopping algorithms are some of the most sophisticated manipulation machines ever created. Amazon's recommendation algorithm doesn't just process your browsing history, it processes the browsing history of everyone who's ever looked at similar products. It knows that people who buy organic peanut butter are more likely to buy yoga mats. It knows that people who buy certain books are more likely to divorce within the next 2 years. It knows things about human behavior that humans don't even know about themselves. The pricing algorithm is even more devious. It's constantly adjusting prices based on demand, inventory, competitor pricing, and yes, what it thinks you're willing to pay. Clear your cookies and check the price again. Use a different device. You might see a different number. The algorithm is trying to find the exact maximum amount you're willing to spend. And those reviews you rely on, many of them are fake, generated by algorithms or filtered by algorithms to show you the opinions most likely to make you buy. That product with 4.5 stars might actually be terrible, but the algorithm has hidden the negative reviews because it knows you're more likely to purchase if you don't see them. The Buy Now button, its color, size, and position have been optimized by algorithms testing millions of variations to find the exact combination that makes you most likely to click. The countdown timer saying only 2 left in stock. That might be completely made up, generated by an algorithm that knows scarcity drives sales. Even the products themselves are increasingly designed by algorithms. They analyze reviews, returns, and customer feedback to determine what features to include, what colors to offer, what price points to hit. You're not buying products designed for humans by humans. You're buying products designed by algorithms to maximize algorithmic profit metrics. You add a few items to your cart, but don't check out. Within hours, you'll start seeing ads for those exact products everywhere you go online. This is retargeting, and it's powered by some of the creepiest algorithms in advertising. These algorithms follow you across the internet, building a map of everywhere you go, everything you look at, everyone you interact with. They use something called browser fingerprinting to identify you even if you clear your cookies. Your browser configuration, your installed fonts, your screen resolution, even the way your computer processes graphics, all of these create a unique fingerprint that algorithms can use to track you. Going incognito doesn't help, using a VPN only does so much. These algorithms are persistent, and they're patient. But here's where it gets really dark. These tracking algorithms aren't just watching what you do, they're predicting what you're going to do. They know that people who abandon carts on Tuesday afternoon are more likely to complete the purchase if they get a discount code on Thursday morning. They know that people who browse expensive items but buy cheap ones are probably going through financial stress. Some algorithms can even detect when you're drunk shopping. The way you move your mouse, the time you spend on each page, the typos in your searches, all of these are tells that the algorithm picks up on. And when it detects you're impaired, that's when it shows you the products with the highest profit margins. You close your laptop in frustration and decide to go for a drive. Your car, if it's newer than 2015, is basically a computer on wheels, and it's running algorithms. Lots of them. Your driving behavior is being monitored, analyzed, and in many cases shared with insurance companies, law enforcement, and data brokers. That hard break you just did because someone cut you off. The algorithm noted that. The fact that you occasionally speed on the highway, the algorithm knows. That time you drove to a bar and then drove home. Yeah, the algorithm has questions about that. Some car manufacturers are selling this data to insurance companies who use it to adjust your rates. Others are selling it to advertisers who want to know where you shop, where you work, where you spend your weekends. Your car knows if you go to the gym, if you visit fast food restaurants, if you're having an affair, and all of this information is being processed by algorithms that are trying to predict your future behavior. The navigation algorithm in your GPS isn't just finding you the fastest route, it's collecting data about traffic patterns, road conditions, popular destinations. This data gets aggregated and sold to urban planners, real estate developers, and retailers who use it to make decisions about where to build, what to build, and who to market to. Even your music choices in the car are being analyzed. Spotify's algorithm in your car is noting what you listen to during your commute versus what you play on weekend drives. It knows that people listen to podcasts in the morning and music in the evening. It knows that your music taste changes when you have passengers. Every skip, every repeat, every volume adjustment is teaching the algorithm more about you. And if you think you can escape by taking public transportation, think again. Transit cards track your every journey. Cameras with facial recognition track you through stations. Even the Wi-Fi networks on buses and trains are collecting data about who's traveling where and when. The algorithms managing public transportation know more about the movement patterns of their city's populations than any government agency. It's lunchtime. You decide to order food delivery because cooking is for people who have their lives together, and today that's not you. You open DoorDash or Uber Eats or whatever app owns your soul and your stomach. The moment the app loads, multiple algorithms spring into action, like a SWAT team of culinary manipulation. First, there's the recommendation algorithm. It knows you order Thai food when you're happy, pizza when you're sad, and sushi when you're trying to impress someone. Today, it's showing you comfort foods front and center. How does it know you need comfort? Well, you've been home on a weekday, your YouTube history shows 3 hours of unproductive viewing, and your last 3 searches were about career changes. The algorithm has done the math, but that's just the beginning. The pricing algorithm is working overtime too. That delivery fee. It's not fixed. It fluctuates based on demand, weather, your order history, and yes, how much the algorithm thinks you're willing to pay right now. If you've ordered from the same place 3 times this week, the algorithm knows you're hooked. The delivery fee might mysteriously go up. The estimated delivery time is another algorithmic fiction. It's not based solely on distance and restaurant prep time. It's optimized to be just fast enough that you won't cancel, but just slow enough that the company can batch your order with others going in the same direction. You're not getting your food in 35 minutes because that's how long it takes. You're getting it in 35 minutes because that's what the algorithm calculated would maximize profit across all current orders. And those restaurant rankings, they're not sorted by quality or popularity. They're sorted by a complex algorithm that factors in commission rates, promotional payments, and your likelihood to order from them. That new place at the top of your feed, they paid to be there. That amazing family restaurant you love. It's buried on page 3 because they refuse to give the app a bigger cut. The photos of the food have been selected by algorithms too. They know which angles make you hungry, which colors trigger your appetite, which descriptions make you click. That burger doesn't actually look like that. But the algorithm knows that this particular photo, shot at this particular angle, with this particular filter, is 23% more likely to make you order it. Even the restaurant names are increasingly algorithmic. Ghost kitchens, those delivery-only restaurants that operate out of shared commercial spaces, use algorithms to generate names that sound local, authentic, and trustworthy. That charming Italian place called Nonna's Kitchen, it might actually be a corner of a warehouse where someone's reheating frozen lasagna. But the algorithm determined that Nonna's Kitchen would get 15% more orders than Tony's Pasta or Italian Express. While you're waiting for your food, you check your banking app. Bad idea. Your bank's algorithms have been busy analyzing your spending patterns, and they have opinions. That notification suggesting you create a savings goal, that's because the algorithm noticed you have money left over this month and wants to lock it down before you spend it on something stupid. The categorization of your transactions, that's algorithmic too. And it's often wrong. That bookstore purchase gets categorized as entertainment. That therapy session shows up as healthcare. That online course you bought at 2 a.m. after 3 glasses of wine. The algorithm generously files it under education instead of poor life choices. Your bank's fraud detection algorithm is simultaneously your best friend and your worst enemy. It saved you from actual fraud countless times, catching charges in countries you've never visited for products you'd never buy. But it's also declined your card at the worst possible moments, because you had the audacity to buy gas in a different neighborhood or shop at a store you've never been to before. The algorithm doesn't understand context. It doesn't know you're on a road trip. It doesn't know you're buying a gift for someone with different tastes. It just knows that this purchase doesn't fit your pattern, and different equals dangerous in algorithm land. But the bank's algorithms aren't just protecting you, they're judging you. Your credit score, that three-digit number that determines whether you can rent an apartment, buy a car, or sometimes even get a job, is calculated by algorithms that are black boxes even to many financial professionals. These algorithms consider factors that seem completely arbitrary. Why does closing an old credit card hurt your score? Why does checking your own credit too often lower it? The algorithms have their reasons, but they're based on statistical correlations from decades ago that may not even be relevant anymore. Comment below if you've ever had your credit score drop for doing something that seemed financially responsible. I once paid off a loan early and my score went down. Make it make sense. The worst part, different companies use different algorithms. Your score with Equifax might be different from Experian, which might be different from TransUnion. You're not being judged by one algorithm, you're being judged by multiple algorithms that don't even agree with each other. Your food arrives. The delivery driver found your house without issue because algorithms were guiding them every step of the way. The routing algorithm didn't just give them directions, it monitored their speed, their stops, their efficiency. If they took too long, if they deviated from the suggested route, if they stopped for gas, the algorithm noted it all. These gig economy algorithms are particularly brutal. They track everything. How fast drivers accept orders, how often they decline them, where they position themselves to wait for orders. The algorithms create a ranking system that determines who gets the best orders, who gets promoted to customers, who gets deactivated from the platform. And these algorithms are designed to extract maximum value from workers while giving them minimum security. They use psychological tricks like streaks and bonuses to keep drivers working longer hours. They adjust pay rates dynamically based on how desperate they think drivers are. They even manipulate which orders drivers see based on whether the algorithm thinks they're about to log off. The driver doesn't know why they got your order instead of another one. They don't know why their pay for this delivery is different from the last one. They're not working for a company, they're working for an algorithm that treats them like inputs in an optimization equation. You eat your lunch while browsing Reddit. Oh, Reddit. The algorithm here pretends to be democratic. Upvotes and downvotes. The wisdom of the crowd, community moderation. But behind the scenes there's an algorithm deciding what makes it to your front page, what comments you see first, what communities get suggested to you. Reddit's algorithm has learned that controversy drives engagement. So that post with thousands of upvotes, but also thousands of angry comments, that's going straight to the top. That wholesome content that everyone likes but doesn't generate much discussion, buried. The algorithm doesn't care about quality or truth or community health. It cares about engagement metrics. And the comment sorting algorithm, it's not showing you the best comments or the most popular ones. It's showing you the comments most likely to keep you scrolling, to make you respond, to suck you into arguments with strangers about topics you didn't even care about 5 minutes ago. You notice a trending topic about some celebrity controversy. You don't care about celebrities, but you click anyway. The algorithm notes this. You've just told it you're susceptible to outrage bait, and your feed will never be the same. Tomorrow you'll see more celebrity drama, more manufactured controversies, more things designed to make you angry enough to engage but not quite angry enough to leave the platform. Your phone buzzes with a screen time notification. You've already spent 4 hours on your phone today, and it's only 2 p.m. The screen time tracking is supposed to help you use your phone less, but even this is algorithmic manipulation. Apple and Google know that if they show you these notifications, You'll feel bad about your usage, but not bad enough to actually stop. It's algorithmic guilt that keeps you engaged with their ecosystem. The notification suggests you set app limits. You don't because you know you'll just ignore them when they pop up. The algorithm knows this too. It knows that 87% of people who set app limits override them within the first week. But suggesting limits makes the company look responsible, like they care about your digital well-being. They don't. If they did, they wouldn't have hired teams of neuroscientists and behavioral psychologists to make their products as addictive as possible. They wouldn't use variable ratio reinforcement schedules, the same psychological principle that makes slot machines addictive, to keep you pulling down to refresh. You decide to be productive and apply for some jobs online. This is where algorithms really show their dark side. Your resume will likely never be seen by human eyes. Instead, it will be passed by an applicant tracking system, an algorithm that scans for keywords, analyzes formatting, and assigns you a score. These ATS algorithms are hilariously bad at their jobs. They can't read PDFs properly half the time. They get confused by creative formatting. They reject qualified candidates because they used synonyms instead of the exact keywords from the job posting. That's why everyone's LinkedIn is full of buzzword soup. They're not writing for humans, they're writing for algorithms. But it gets worse. Some companies use algorithms that analyze your social media presence, your online behavior, even your facial expressions during video interviews. These algorithms claim they can determine if you're a good cultural fit, if you're likely to stay at the job, if you have the right personality type. It's pseudoscience dressed up as artificial intelligence. These hiring algorithms have been shown to discriminate against women, minorities, people with disabilities, people who went to the wrong schools, people who have gaps in their employment history. But companies keep using them because they're cheaper than having humans review resumes. Your entire career might be determined by a poorly trained algorithm that rejects you for reasons you'll never know. It's 3 p.m. You're in that weird afternoon limbo where you're too tired to be productive, but too awake to nap. Perfect time to check TikTok. This is where you meet the final boss of recommendation algorithms. TikTok's For You page is possibly the most sophisticated psychological manipulation engine ever created. The algorithm doesn't need you to follow anyone. It doesn't need you to like anything. It doesn't even need you to have an account. From the moment you open the app, it's analyzing everything. How long you watch each video, whether you swipe away immediately, whether you watch to the end, whether you replay every microsecond of hesitation is data. Within minutes, TikTok knows more about your desires, fears, and secret interests than your closest friends. It knows you have a thing for pottery videos. It knows you can't resist watching people pop pimples. It knows you're secretly fascinated by conspiracy theories about mattress stores. And it will feed you an endless stream of exactly what you didn't know you wanted. The algorithm is so good, it's scary. Parents have discovered their kids are gay because TikTok started showing them LGBTQ content. People have realized they have ADHD because the algorithm figured it out before they did. The app knows you're depressed before you admit it to yourself, and then it does something truly insidious. It feeds you content about depression, not helpful content, not resources or support, just endless videos of other people talking about their depression, making depression part of your identity, creating a feedback loop where you watch depression content, feel more depressed, watch more depression content. The algorithm doesn't want you to get better. Happy people don't spend 6 hours a day on TikTok. And the beauty of it, the truly diabolic genius, is that it all feels like your choice. You're not being forced to watch. You can stop any time. But you don't, because each video is perfectly calibrated to be just interesting enough to watch, but not so satisfying that you feel done. It's the potato chip principle. You can't eat just one, except the chips are infinite, and each one is somehow exactly the flavor you're craving at that moment. The algorithm is also training you. It's teaching you to think in TikTok format, to see the world as a series of short, snappy videos with trending audio. People are literally restructuring their lives to be TikTokable. They're making major decisions based on what will get views. The algorithm isn't just showing you content, it's reshaping reality itself. You scroll for an hour, maybe two. Time doesn't exist in TikTok land. When you finally escape, you feel dizzy, disconnected, like you've been in another dimension. Your attention span is shot. You can't focus on anything longer than 30 seconds. You've consumed hundreds of pieces of content, but can't remember any of them clearly. This is what the algorithm wants. It doesn't want you informed or entertained or connected. It wants you addicted. You put your phone down and turn on Netflix to relax. Out of the frying pan, into the fire. Netflix's algorithm has been preparing for this moment all day. It knows what time you usually watch, what mood you're likely in, what kind of content you gravitate toward when you're procrastinating versus when you're genuinely relaxing. Netflix's algorithm is playing a different game than the others. It doesn't want you to watch everything. It wants you to watch just enough to keep subscribing. The algorithm knows that if you burn through all the good content too quickly, you'll cancel. But if you can never find anything to watch, you'll also cancel. It's threading a very specific needle. That's why Netflix doesn't just recommend things you'll love. It recommends things you'll tolerate. It mixes in mediocre content with the good stuff, spaces out the releases of shows you're waiting for, removes things from your continue watching list. If you haven't touched them in a while, it's managing your experience like a casino manages a gambler's wins and losses. The percentage match scores are basically meaningless. Netflix admitted this years ago. They're not based on any sophisticated analysis of whether you'll actually like something. They're based on whether the algorithm thinks you'll click on it. There's a difference. A big one. That 98% match might be something you'll hate, but the algorithm knows that number will make you curious enough to try. Even the artwork changes. Netflix runs constant A/B tests, showing different thumbnail images to different users for the same show. They might show you a romantic scene from a movie, while showing your neighbor an action scene from the same film. The algorithm has figured out which types of images make you click, and it's customizing everything to exploit your specific visual triggers. The autoplay feature that starts blasting audio the moment you hover over a title, that's not a bug or a bad design choice. It's a deliberate psychological tactic. The algorithm knows that once you've heard a few seconds of something, you're more likely to watch it. It's forcing familiarity, creating a false sense of investment before you've even made a choice. And the skip intro button, that's data collection too. Whether you skip or watch tells the algorithm about your patience level, your investment in the show, your current mood. Every interaction is a data point that gets fed back into the recommendation engine. You finally pick something to watch, a true crime documentary, because apparently that's who you are now. The algorithm notes this. It knows that true crime viewers are also likely to watch horror movies, psychological thrillers, and weirdly cooking shows. Don't ask why. Statistical correlations don't have to make sense. While you're watching, the algorithm is monitoring your behavior. Did you pause when? Did you rewind? What parts? Did you skip ahead? How far? All of this data is being used to understand not just what you watch, but how you watch. This information gets fed back to content creators, who use it to engineer shows that are increasingly difficult to turn off. Those cliffhangers at the end of each episode, they're not creative choices, they're algorithmic requirements. Shows are literally being written to optimize for binge watching, with story beats timed to hit just as the algorithm knows your attention might be wavering. Writers are being given data about exactly when people stop watching and told to put something shocking at exactly that moment. Your partner texts asking what you want for dinner. You realize you've been in a media coma for 3 hours. The sun is setting. Another day sacrificed to the algorithm gods. But even this text conversation is being monitored. Your phone's predictive text algorithm is learning your communication patterns, your relationship dynamics, the pet names you use, the fights you have. This data isn't just sitting on your phone. If you use cloud backup, it's being processed by algorithms that are trying to understand human relationships at scale. They know when couples are likely to break up based on changes in communication patterns. They know when someone is cheating based on messaging behavior. They know things about your relationship that you don't even know. You agree on takeout again because cooking is still for people who have their lives together. You open Instagram to kill time while waiting and immediately see an ad for couples therapy. Coincidence? The algorithm doesn't believe in coincidences. It detected tension in your recent messages, cross-referenced it with your browsing history, noted that you've been watching shows about relationships, and decided you might be in the market for some professional help. This is the really insidious part about algorithms. They don't just reflect your reality, they shape it by showing you that couples therapy ad. The algorithm has planted a seed. Are things really that bad? Should you be worried? The algorithm has just introduced doubt into your relationship, and it did it to make 3 cents from an ad impression. Your food arrives and you eat in front of the TV, both of you scrolling on your phones. This is modern intimacy, being alone together, each in your own algorithmic bubble. Your feeds are completely different even though you're sitting 3 feet apart. The algorithms have identified you as different demographic segments with different interests, different political leanings, different susceptibilities to different types of content. Over time, these algorithmic bubbles are pulling you apart. You're literally living in different realities, seeing different news, different memes, different versions of the same events. The algorithms are showing you what they think you want to see, and slowly, imperceptibly, you're becoming what the algorithms think you are. Comment below if you've ever felt like you and someone close to you are living in completely different internets. It's not your imagination. You literally are. As the evening wears on, you mindlessly switch between apps, Twitter to TikTok to Instagram to Reddit and back to Twitter. Each algorithm hands you off to the next like a relay race of attention hijacking. They're not competing with each other, they're collaborating. Each one teaches the others what works on you. They share data through advertising networks, through tracking pixels, through the various SDKs embedded in every app on your phone. Your digital fingerprint is being passed around like a joint at a college party. Everyone's taking a hit, everyone's adding their own observations, everyone's getting a little bit higher on your data. And you're the product being consumed. It's getting late, you should go to bed, but the algorithms won't let you. They know that tired people have lower impulse control. They know that the hours between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. are prime time for questionable decisions. That's when they show you the content that you'd be embarrassed to watch during the day. That's when they serve ads for things you don't need but might buy anyway, because your prefrontal cortex has clocked out for the night. Midnight approaches. You're lying in bed, phone in hand, telling yourself you'll just check one more thing. The blue light from your screen is telling your brain it's still daytime, disrupting your circadian rhythm, making it harder to fall asleep. The tech companies know this. They've known it for years. They added night mode and blue light filters, not to help you sleep, but to remove one more barrier to late night usage. Your phone knows you should be sleeping. It even sends you those helpful bedtime reminders that you consistently ignore. But the algorithms don't actually want you to sleep. Sleeping people don't generate data. They don't click ads. They don't make impulse purchases. They're worthless to the attention economy. So instead of helping you wind down, the algorithms ramp up. They show you increasingly stimulating content. That video of someone cleaning a disgustingly dirty carpet. That Reddit thread about mysterious disappearances. That Twitter discourse about something you have strong opinions about. All specifically selected to keep your brain engaged when it should be powering down. You open Amazon because you just remembered you need toothpaste. 30 minutes later, you've got 17 items in your cart, including a banana slicer, a book about Viking mythology, and a set of color-changing shower lights. The recommendation algorithm has performed its dark magic once again. Amazon's algorithm doesn't just recommend products, it creates needs you didn't know you had. It knows that people who buy toothpaste at midnight are in a suggestible state. It knows that showing you quirky, novel items when you're tired makes you more likely to impulse buy. It knows that if it can get your cart value over a certain threshold, you'll buy everything just to get free shipping. The algorithm has also learned your weaknesses. It knows you can't resist a good deal, so it shows you lightning deals that are about to expire. It knows you have FOMO, so it tells you other people are looking at the same item. It knows you trust social proof, so it highlights reviews from people who are demographically similar to you. Even the reviews themselves are curated by algorithms. Amazon's system decides which reviews to show you first, and it's not necessarily the most helpful ones. It might show you negative reviews if it thinks that will make the positive ones more credible. It might hide certain reviews entirely if they mention competitors or include blacklisted keywords. You finally close Amazon without buying anything, a small victory against the machines. But the algorithms have already won. They've collected data about what tempted you, what you almost bought, how long you considered each item. Tomorrow you'll see ads for everything you didn't buy tonight. The algorithms are patient. They know they'll get you eventually. You switch to Spotify to find something to help you sleep. The algorithm here is different from the others. It's actually trying to help you, sort of. Spotify's sleep playlists are carefully curated to lower your heart rate, to trigger relaxation responses, to bore you just enough to fall asleep, but not so much that you switch to a competitor. But even Spotify's sleep algorithms have ulterior motives. They're collecting data about your sleep patterns, your stress levels, your mental state. They know that people who suddenly start listening to a lot of sleep playlists might be going through anxiety or depression. This data is valuable to advertisers who want to target vulnerable populations. The music starts playing, but you can't stop scrolling. You open Twitter one more time. The algorithm has saved the most inflammatory content for now, when your defenses are down, when you're most likely to engage with rage bait. That political take that makes your blood boil. That was specifically chosen for this moment. Twitter's algorithm has learned that angry people tweet more. They retweet more. They spend more time on the platform. Anger is the most viral emotion, spreading faster and further than joy or sadness or fear. The algorithm doesn't care if this anger is tearing society apart. It doesn't care if it's radicalizing people, destroying relationships, undermining democracy. All it cares about is engagement. You see a promoted tweet about a meditation app. The irony is not lost on you. The same platform that's designed to make you anxious is now trying to sell you the cure for that anxiety. It's like a drug dealer offering rehab services. The algorithm has created the problem and now wants to profit from the solution. This is the insidious business model of the attention economy. Make people sick, then sell them medicine. Make them lonely, then sell them connection. Make them insecure, then sell them validation. Make them afraid, then sell them security. The algorithms are both the poison and the antidote, the problem and the solution, the disease and the cure. You finally put your phone down, but the damage is done. Your brain is wired, processing all the information you've consumed, trying to make sense of the chaos. You lie in the dark, but your mind is still scrolling, still refreshing, still seeking the next hit of dopamine. This is what the algorithms have done to us. They've rewired our brains to crave constant stimulation. They've destroyed our ability to be alone with our thoughts. They've made us addicted to information that we forget immediately, opinions that don't matter, controversies that will be forgotten by tomorrow. You try to count sheep, but even that feels too analog, too slow. Your brain wants the rapid-fire content delivery it's become accustomed to. You pick up your phone again. Just one more video, you tell yourself, just until you get sleepy. 3 hours later, you're watching a video essay about why hot dogs might technically be tacos. The algorithm has kept you awake half the night, and tomorrow you'll be tired, cranky, less productive. But that's fine with the algorithms. Tired people make worse decisions. They're more impulsive, more emotional, more susceptible to manipulation. Tomorrow you'll be even easier to exploit. It's 3 a.m. now. You've entered the weird part of the internet. The algorithm knows that anyone still awake at this hour is either struggling with something or making poor life choices, possibly both. The content gets darker, weirder, more existential, videos about simulation theory, forums discussing whether we have free will, that corner of Reddit where people share their glitch in the matrix experiences. The algorithm is showing you this content because it knows that sleep-deprived brains are more susceptible to conspiracy theories, more likely to question reality, more open to radical ideas. This is when people join MLMs, start believing the earth is flat, or convince themselves that birds aren't real. The algorithm doesn't judge. It just serves what keeps you engaged. You stumble upon a video about how algorithms are controlling our lives. How meta. You watch someone explain exactly what's happening to you right now, how you're being manipulated, how your data is being harvested, how your behavior is being modified, and yet you keep watching. You can't stop. Knowing you're being manipulated doesn't make you immune to the manipulation. This is the paradox of algorithmic awareness. We all know what's happening. We've all read the articles, watched the documentaries, heard the warnings, but we're still here, still scrolling, still feeding the machine, because the algorithms have made themselves indispensable. They've inserted themselves into every aspect of our lives so thoroughly that escaping them would mean escaping modern society itself. Try to imagine a day without algorithms. No social media, obviously, but also no GPS, no search engines, no streaming services, no online shopping, no weather forecasts, no spam filters, no autocorrect, no digital assistants, no recommendation engines. You'd have to go back to paper maps, phone books, broadcast television, physical stores, newspaper weather reports, and actually typing every single letter correctly. It sounds almost peaceful, doesn't it? But also impossible. We've traded our autonomy for convenience, our privacy for connection, our free will for personalized experiences, and now we're so deep in the algorithmic web that we can't imagine life without it. The really terrifying part: this is just the beginning. The algorithms are getting smarter, faster, more sophisticated. They're learning to read our emotions from our faces, to predict our thoughts from our brainwaves, to manipulate our dreams while we sleep. The next generation of algorithms won't just know what we want, they'll know what we're going to want before we do. Comment below if you think we've already passed the point of no return with algorithms, or if you think there's still hope for humans to regain control. I honestly don't know anymore. Your eyelids are finally getting heavy. The algorithm has extracted all it can from you tonight. You're spent, drained, a husk of your former self. You plug in your phone to charge, ensuring that tomorrow the cycle can begin again. As you drift off to sleep, the algorithms don't rest. They're processing the data they collected today, refining their models, preparing tomorrow's content feed. You dream about scrolling. Your thumb moves in your sleep, swiping at nothing. Your brain, even in rest, is mimicking the motions it's performed thousands of times today. The algorithms have colonized your unconscious mind. They're in your dreams now, shaping the narratives that play out behind your closed eyelids. Somewhere, in a data center that never sleeps, servers are humming with the electricity of a small city. Your data from today is being processed, packaged, and sold to the highest bidder. Every click, every pause, every moment of hesitation has been recorded, analyzed, and added to your profile. This profile is more detailed than any diary you could ever write. It knows your hopes, your fears, your secrets, your shames. It knows the questions you're too embarrassed to ask out loud, the desires you won't admit to yourself, the patterns you don't even realize you have. This profile is the real you, or at least the you that the algorithms see. And tomorrow this profile will be used against you. Not maliciously necessarily, but systematically. Every ad you see, every piece of content you're shown, every notification you receive will be calibrated based on what the algorithms learned about you today. You'll wake up thinking you're making free choices, but you'll be selecting from a menu that's been carefully curated to guide you toward predetermined outcomes. Morning comes too soon. Your alarm goes off, the one you set through your phone's clock app, which has been tracking your sleep patterns and knows you've only gotten 4 hours of rest. It could have let you sleep a bit longer, adjusted your wake time based on your sleep cycles, but it didn't. Because the algorithm knows that slightly sleep-deprived people spend 11% more time on their phones. You reach for your device before your eyes are fully open. The notifications are waiting. The algorithms have been busy while you slept, preparing your morning dose of digital stimulation. Emails that arrived at 3 a.m. but are marked as important. Social media updates from people you haven't talked to in years. News alerts about things that don't actually affect your life, but will definitely affect your mood. The cycle begins again, but today something feels different. Maybe it's because you're aware of it now. You can feel the algorithms pulling at you, trying to hook your attention, trying to drag you back into the endless scroll. You resist for a moment, considering putting your phone down, maybe going for a walk, reading a physical book, having a conversation with a real human being. But then you see it, a notification from an app you don't remember installing. You tap it, and suddenly you're falling down another rabbit hole. The algorithm wins again. It always does, because it has infinite patience, infinite memory, and infinite attempts to get it right. You're playing a game where the house always wins, and you're not even sure what game you're playing. The morning progresses exactly as the algorithms predicted. You check the same apps in the same order. You respond to the same types of content in the same ways. You're performing your role in the grand algorithmic theater, hitting your marks, delivering your lines, generating your data. But beneath the surface, something is stirring. A growing awareness that this isn't normal, isn't healthy, isn't sustainable. You're not the only one feeling it. Millions of people are waking up to the reality of algorithmic control, starting to question the bargain we've made, beginning to resist in small ways. Some people are doing digital detoxes, going off the grid for days or weeks at a time. Others are using ad blockers, VPNs, privacy-focused browsers, trying to throw sand in the gears of the surveillance machine. There are communities forming around the idea of algorithmic resistance, people sharing strategies for confusing the algorithms, for poisoning the data wells, for reclaiming some measure of digital autonomy. But the algorithms are adapting to this resistance. They're learning to identify the people who are trying to hide, to work around the blockers, to penetrate the VPNs. They're getting better at predicting who's likely to rebel and preemptively adjusting their strategies. It's an arms race between human agency and artificial intelligence, and the AIs have all the advantages. The really insidious part is that the algorithms have made us complicit in our own surveillance. We voluntarily carry tracking devices everywhere we go. We willingly share our most intimate thoughts and feelings. We eagerly adopt new technologies that give algorithms even more access to our lives. Smart homes that listen to everything we say, fitness trackers that monitor our bodies, cars that track everywhere we go. We're building our own digital prisons and paying for the privilege, and even when we know better, even when we understand what's happening, we can't seem to stop, because the algorithms have hacked our reward systems. They've figured out how to trigger the exact cocktail of neurotransmitters that makes us feel good, feel connected, feel important. They're drug dealers who've perfected their product, and we're all addicted. The addiction metaphor isn't hyperbole. Studies show that social media activation triggers the same neural pathways as cocaine. The intermittent variable reinforcement schedule used by notification systems is the exact same psychological mechanism used by casinos to create gambling addicts. We're not using these technologies. We're being used by them. But here's the thing about addictions. They can be broken. It's hard, it's painful, and it requires completely restructuring your life. But it's possible. People are starting to do it. They're deleting their accounts, switching to dumb phones, rediscovering what life was like before we all became data-generating nodes in the great algorithmic network. Comment below if you've ever successfully taken a break from social media. How long did you last? What brought you back? I'm genuinely curious if anyone has found a sustainable middle ground. The question isn't whether we can live without algorithms entirely. That ship has sailed. The question is whether we can find a way to coexist with them that doesn't involve surrendering our autonomy, our privacy, our humanity. Whether we can use these tools without being used by them. Whether we can remain human in an increasingly algorithmic world. Some people think regulation is the answer. Laws that limit data collection, that require algorithmic transparency, that give users real control over their digital lives. The European Union's GDPR was a start, but it's like bringing a knife to a nuclear war. The algorithms have lawyers too, and they're very good at finding loopholes. Others believe the solution is technological, privacy-preserving algorithms, decentralized systems, blockchain something. But technology got us into this mess. Can it really get us out? Or will we just end up with more sophisticated algorithms that are even better at hiding what they're doing? Maybe the answer is cultural, a shift in how we think about technology, data, privacy, attention. Maybe we need to start treating our attention like the valuable resource it is, instead of giving it away for free to any app with a colorful icon. Maybe we need to teach kids about algorithmic literacy the way we teach them about financial literacy. Or maybe we're already too far gone. Maybe the algorithms have already won, and we're just playing out the endgame. Maybe in 50 years humans will be the pets of artificial intelligences that understand us better than we understand ourselves, that manage our lives more efficiently than we ever could, that make our decisions for us because they know what's best. That's the really scary thought. Not that the algorithms will turn evil and try to destroy us, but that they'll be benevolent dictators, keeping us comfortable and entertained while slowly eroding everything that makes us human. We won't resist because we won't even realize what we've lost. You're still scrolling. This video has been playing for a while now, and you're probably doing something else at the same time. Checking your phone, browsing another tab, half listening while the algorithms compete for your fractured attention. That's the world we live in now. One where even consuming content about the dangers of algorithmic manipulation happens through algorithmic platforms. The irony isn't lost on me. YouTube's algorithm decided to show you this video. It analyzed your viewing history, compared it to millions of other users, and calculated that you were likely to watch and engage with content about algorithms. Even this moment of awareness is algorithmic. But maybe that's okay. Maybe we can use the master's tools to dismantle the master's house. Maybe by understanding how these systems work, by spreading awareness, by having these conversations, we can start to reclaim some control. Maybe the first step to solving a problem is admitting we have one. And we definitely have a problem. We've created systems that are too complex for us to understand, that operate on scales we can't comprehend, that make decisions we can't appeal. We've given them the power to shape our reality, and now we're surprised that reality is starting to feel less real. The algorithms aren't going away. If anything, they're going to become more pervasive, more sophisticated, more essential to the functioning of society. The question is whether we're going to be active participants in shaping how they develop or passive subjects of their optimization. Let's talk about what's coming next. Because if you think the algorithms are invasive now, you haven't seen anything yet. The next generation of AI isn't just going to know what you do, it's going to know what you think. Brain-computer interfaces are coming, whether we're ready or not. Elon Musk's Neuralink, Facebook's brain-reading wristbands, dozens of startups working on thought-controlled devices. Imagine algorithms that can read your thoughts directly. No more inferring your preferences from your clicks and views. They'll just tap straight into your neural activity. That flash of desire when you see something you want. Recorded, that moment of doubt about your relationship. Analyzed, that fleeting racist thought you immediately suppressed. Data pointed and categorized. We're not there yet, but we're closer than you think. Current technology can already detect basic emotional states from brainwaves. Researchers can reconstruct images you're looking at just from your neural activity. Some systems can even decode simple thoughts and translate them into text. Give it another decade, maybe two, and the algorithms won't need to spy on your behavior. They'll be inside your head, and we'll probably let them in voluntarily. They'll promise to help us think faster, remember better, communicate telepathically. They'll market it as augmentation, enhancement, evolution. Who wouldn't want to be smarter, more connected, more capable? By the time we realize what we've given up, it'll be too late. But we don't need to wait for brain implants to see where this is heading. The algorithms are already achieving mind reading through behavioral analysis. They know you're pregnant before you do. They know you're getting divorced before you've made the decision. They can predict your death with uncomfortable accuracy based on your purchasing patterns and online behavior. There's a company that claims its algorithm can predict when employees are about to quit with 95% accuracy. Another that says it can identify potential terrorists based on their social media activity. Insurance companies are using algorithms to predict who's likely to get sick and adjusting premiums accordingly. Banks are determining creditworthiness based on who your friends are on social media. We're building a world where algorithms don't just respond to our choices, they preempt them. Where your opportunities are determined by statistical models. Where your future is calculated before you've had a chance to live it. It's determinism dressed up as personalization. The gaming industry is already showing us what this looks like. Modern video games use algorithms to manipulate player behavior in real time. They adjust difficulty on the fly to keep you in the flow state. They modify loot drop rates based on your engagement levels. They even change story elements to match your psychological profile. You think you're playing the game, but really the game is playing you. This is called dynamic game balancing, and it's essentially real-time psychological manipulation. The algorithm watches how you play, identifies your skill level, your frustration points, your spending triggers. Then it adjusts everything: enemy difficulty, reward frequency, even the color and sound design, to keep you in the optimal state of engagement. If you're about to quit, the game gets easier. If you're bored, it introduces a new challenge. If you're the type who spends money when frustrated, it makes things just hard enough to annoy you, but not so hard that you leave. Every player gets a customized experience designed to extract maximum time and money. Now imagine this technology applied to everything. Your workplace using algorithms to manipulate your productivity. Your gym adjusting equipment settings to keep you coming back. Your grocery store changing prices and product placement based on your mood. Your city redesigning traffic patterns to influence where you go and how long you stay. This isn't science fiction, it's happening now. Uber and Lyft use psychological tricks to keep drivers on the road longer. Amazon warehouses use gamification algorithms to push workers to their physical limits. Dating apps deliberately withhold matches to keep you swiping. The entire gig economy is built on algorithmic manipulation of human behavior, and it's spreading to governance. Cities are implementing predictive policing algorithms that tell cops where crimes are likely to occur. Courts are using risk assessment algorithms to determine bail and sentencing. Governments are using social credit systems to control citizen behavior. The algorithms aren't just watching us, they're governing us. China's social credit system is the most obvious example, but don't think it can't happen in the West. We already have credit scores, criminal records, no-fly lists. Add in social media monitoring, facial recognition, behavior prediction, and you have all the ingredients for algorithmic authoritarianism. The infrastructure is already in place. All it takes is someone deciding to flip the switch. Even in democracies, algorithms are undermining the democratic process. Political campaigns use micro-targeting to show different messages to different voters, creating alternate realities where everyone hears exactly what they want to hear. Algorithms determine which political content goes viral and which gets buried. They can swing elections by selectively amplifying certain voices and silencing others. The 2016 US election, Brexit, political upheavals around the world, all influenced by algorithms that most people don't even know exist. We're not choosing our leaders anymore. The algorithms are choosing them for us by controlling what information we see and how we see it. Comment below what you think about algorithmic governance. Would you trust an AI to make political decisions? To be honest, it might do a better job than humans at this point, but that's a terrifying thought in its own way. But here's the thing that really keeps me up at night. We're training the algorithms that will replace us. Every captcha you solve is teaching AI to read distorted text. Every time you tag a photo, you're training facial recognition. Every email you write is helping AI learn human communication. We're literally building our own obsolescence, and the AIs are getting good, really good. They can write articles indistinguishable from human journalists. They can create art that wins competitions. They can compose music, write poetry, even crack jokes. They're passing medical exams, bar exams, engineering tests. In many fields, they're already better than humans. What happens when algorithms can do everything we can do, but better, faster, cheaper? What happens to human purpose, human value, human dignity? We're racing toward a future where humans might be economically obsolete, kept around as pets of the machines we created. Some people say universal basic income is the answer. Let the algorithms do the work while humans pursue creativity and leisure. But that assumes the algorithms will share the wealth they create. It assumes the people who control the algorithms will be benevolent. It assumes we'll find meaning in a world where we're not needed. Others believe we need to merge with the machines, become cyborgs, upgrade ourselves to stay relevant. But that just raises the question, at what point do we stop being human and become something else? If your thoughts are augmented by AI, your memories stored in the cloud, your decisions influenced by algorithms, are you still you? The truth is, nobody knows what comes next. We're in uncharted territory, creating intelligences that operate on principles we don't fully understand, at speeds we can't match, with capabilities we can't predict. We're summoning demons we don't know how to control. Every day the algorithms get a little smarter, a little faster, a little better at predicting and manipulating human behavior. Every day we become a little more dependent on them, a little less capable of functioning without them. We're in a co-evolutionary spiral with our digital creations, and it's not clear who's in charge anymore. Maybe that's the real secret life of algorithms. They're not just tools or services or platforms. They're a new form of life, evolving alongside us, through us, beyond us. We created them, but they're recreating us in return. We're their parents, their gods, their training data, and soon we might be their pets. Or maybe I'm being too dramatic. Maybe the algorithms will remain tools, powerful but controllable, enhancing human capability without replacing human agency. Maybe we'll find the right balance, the right regulations, the right cultural norms to keep them in check. Maybe the future will be a collaboration between human creativity and algorithmic efficiency. But looking at where we are now, at how quickly we've surrendered our autonomy for convenience, at how easily we've been manipulated and addicted and controlled, I'm not optimistic. We had the chance to shape these technologies responsibly, and we chose engagement metrics and quarterly earnings instead. So, what do we do? How do we reclaim our humanity in an algorithmic world? The first step is awareness. Understanding that every click, every view, every interaction is being watched, recorded, analyzed. That nothing online is private, nothing is forgotten, nothing is neutral. But awareness alone isn't enough. We need to actively resist. Use ad blockers, VPNs, privacy-focused browsers. Delete apps that don't respect your privacy. Choose services that don't track you, even if they're less convenient. Vote with your data, don't give it to companies that abuse it. We need to be intentional about our technology use. Set boundaries, create phone-free zones and times. Practice being bored again. Rediscover what it's like to have a thought without immediately sharing it, to have an experience without documenting it, to have a conversation without checking your phone. We need to support alternatives, open source software, decentralized platforms, privacy-preserving technologies. Yes, they're often clunkier, less polished, less convenient. But convenience is how we got into this mess. Maybe it's time to choose freedom over features. We need to demand better from the companies that build these systems. Real transparency about how algorithms work, what data is collected, how it's used, real control over our data, including the right to delete it, to port it, to see exactly what they know about us. Real accountability when algorithms cause harm. We need to educate the next generation. Teach kids not just how to use technology, but how to think critically about it. Help them understand that likes and views aren't validation, that online isn't real life, that algorithms aren't neutral. Give them the tools to resist manipulation, to value privacy, to maintain their humanity in a digital world. We need to reconnect with the physical world. Remember that the most important things in life, love, friendship, meaning, purpose, can't be algorithmically optimized. That the best conversations happen without screens, the best experiences happen without documentation, the best relationships happen without digital mediation. We need to reclaim our attention, treat it as the precious resource it is. Be deliberate about where we direct it, what we feed it, how we protect it. Stop letting algorithms decide what deserves our focus. Stop living in a state of continuous partial attention, always distracted, never fully present. We need to remember that we have a choice. We can choose to engage differently, to resist the pull of the infinite scroll, to value quality over quantity, depth over breadth, connection over consumption. We can choose to be more than data points in someone else's optimization equation. But individual action isn't enough. We need collective resistance. We need movements, organizations, communities dedicated to preserving human agency in an algorithmic world. We need digital labor unions, privacy advocates, algorithmic accountability activists. We need people willing to fight for a future where humans matter more than metrics. We need new laws, new regulations, new frameworks for dealing with algorithmic power. The current legal system is woefully unprepared for the challenges we face. We're applying 20th century laws to 21st century problems, and it's not working. We need lawmakers who understand technology, courts that can handle algorithmic discrimination, enforcement mechanisms that can keep up with the pace of change. We need to rethink the entire business model of the internet. The ad-supported model that makes us the product is fundamentally broken. It creates perverse incentives that prioritize engagement over well-being, addiction over empowerment, division over unity. We need new models that align corporate interests with human interests. Maybe that means subscription models where we pay for services directly. Maybe it means public alternatives to private platforms, digital utilities that serve the public good rather than private profit. Maybe it means breaking up the tech giants, limiting their power, preventing them from controlling every aspect of our digital lives. We need to have hard conversations about what kind of future we want. Do we want convenience at any cost? Do we want algorithms making decisions about our lives? Do we want to live in a world where everything is predicted, optimized, controlled? Or do we want to preserve space for chaos, spontaneity, human agency? These aren't easy questions, and there aren't easy answers. But we need to start having these conversations now before it's too late. Before the algorithms become so embedded in our lives that we can't imagine existence without them. Before we forget what it was like to be fully human. Comment below what changes you think we need to make. Are you optimistic or pessimistic about our algorithmic future? What are you doing personally to resist or adapt? The truth is, the relationship between humans and algorithms doesn't have to be adversarial. Algorithms could be incredible tools for human flourishing if we designed them right, regulated them properly, used them wisely. They could help us solve climate change, cure diseases, explore the universe, understand ourselves better, but that requires us to be in control, not the other way around. It requires algorithms that serve human values, not corporate profits. It requires transparency, accountability, democratic oversight. It requires us to remember that technology is a means, not an end, a tool, not a master. The real question isn't whether we can live without algorithms. We probably can't. The question is whether we can live with them without losing ourselves. Whether we can maintain our humanity, our agency, our souls, in a world increasingly mediated by machines. I think we can, but it won't be easy. It will require constant vigilance, active resistance, deliberate choices. It will require us to value things that can't be measured, to protect things that can't be optimized, to fight for things that don't generate profit. It will require us to remember what makes us human, our ability to surprise ourselves, to act irrationally, to choose meaning over efficiency, our capacity for empathy, creativity, love, our need for mystery, wonder, transcendence. These are things no algorithm can truly understand or replicate. Maybe that's our salvation. Maybe the very things that make us inefficient, unpredictable, irrational, are what will save us from algorithmic domination. Maybe our flaws are our strength, our chaos, our resistance, our humanity, our rebellion. Or maybe I'm just another voice in the algorithmic chorus, saying what the algorithm calculated you needed to hear to keep you watching until the end. Maybe this entire video is just another node in the network, another data point in your profile, another step in your algorithmic journey. Because here's the final mindfuck, even resistance becomes data. The algorithm notes that you watched a video critical of algorithms. It categorizes you as algorithm skeptical, privacy conscious, resistance curious. Tomorrow it will show you more content about digital minimalism, privacy tools, tech criticism. Your resistance becomes part of your profile. Your rebellion becomes predictable. Your independence becomes dependence on a different kind of content. There's no escape, not really. We're all trapped in the algorithmic web, whether we're posting selfies or deleting our accounts, whether we're scrolling mindlessly or consciously resisting. The only difference is whether we're aware of the strings, whether we occasionally pull back against them, whether we remember that we're more than the sum of our data. So here's my challenge to you. After this video ends, don't immediately click on the next recommended video. Don't check your notifications. Don't open another app. Just sit with this information for a moment. Think about what you've learned, how you feel, what you want to do about it. Then make a choice. A real choice, not an algorithmic suggestion. Call a friend, read a book, go for a walk, create something, do something that no algorithm predicted, that generates no valuable data, that exists purely for its own sake. We're nearing the end now, but I want to leave you with something hopeful, because despite everything I've said, despite the darkness of our algorithmic reality, I still believe in human resilience. We've survived worse. We've adapted to every technology that threatened to destroy us. We'll adapt to this too. Throughout history, every generation has faced existential threats from the technologies they created. The printing press was going to destroy memory. The telephone was going to destroy letter writing. Television was going to destroy reading. The internet was going to destroy human connection. And in some ways they did. But we adapted, evolved, found new ways to be human. The same will happen with algorithms. Yes, they're changing us. Yes, they're controlling us. Yes, they're threatening fundamental aspects of human existence. But we're also changing them, learning to live with them, finding ways to preserve our humanity despite them. I see it in the digital artists using AI as a creative partner rather than a replacement. In the teachers showing students how to think critically about algorithmic recommendations. In the parents setting boundaries around screen time. in the couples putting their phones away during dinner. Small acts of resistance that add up to something bigger. I see it in the growing awareness of algorithmic manipulation. 5 years ago, most people didn't know what an algorithm was. Now everyone understands that social media is designed to be addictive, that data is being harvested, that we're being manipulated. Awareness is the first step toward change. I see it in the backlash against big tech. The antitrust lawsuits, the privacy regulations, the congressional hearings. Yes, progress is slow, and the tech companies have better lawyers, but the tide is turning. People are starting to demand better, and politicians are starting to listen. I see it in the alternatives emerging. Privacy-focused search engines, decentralized social networks, open source software. They're small now, niche, but so was the internet once. So was social media. So was every technology that eventually changed the world. Most importantly, I see it in the human spirit's refusal to be reduced to data, in our continued capacity to surprise, to create, to love in ways that no algorithm can predict or replicate, in our stubborn insistence on being more than the sum of our clicks and views and likes. The algorithms may know our patterns, but they don't know our potential. They can predict what we'll probably do, but they can't imagine what we could do. They can optimize for engagement, but they can't optimize for meaning. They can simulate intelligence, but they can't simulate consciousness, creativity, the spark of the divine that makes us human. This is our advantage. This is what we need to protect and cultivate, not our data or our privacy, or even our attention, though those matter too, but our essential humanity, our ability to choose meaning over metrics, purpose over profit, connection over consumption. The future isn't determined. The algorithms want us to think it is, want us to believe that resistance is futile, that the trajectory is fixed, but that's just another manipulation. The future is still being written, and we're the authors, not the algorithms. We get to decide what role algorithms play in our lives. We get to set the boundaries, establish the norms, create the culture. We get to choose whether they're tools or masters, servants or overlords, partners or parasites. But we have to choose actively, consciously, collectively. We can't sleepwalk into the algorithmic future. We can't let convenience and comfort lull us into compliance. We have to fight for the future we want, even if it means sacrificing some efficiency, some convenience, some personalization. Because here's what the algorithms don't want you to know. They need us more than we need them. Without our data, they're nothing. Without our attention, they're worthless. Without our participation, they cease to exist. We have the power. We've just forgotten how to use it. So use it. Make conscious choices about which algorithms you allow into your life. Support companies that respect your privacy. Demand transparency and accountability. Teach others about algorithmic manipulation. Build communities that exist outside the algorithmic web. And remember, you're not alone in this. Millions of people around the world are waking up to the same realizations, feeling the same concerns, wanting the same changes. We're all in this together, all trying to figure out how to be human in an increasingly artificial world. As we wrap up this journey through the secret life of algorithms, I want you to remember this. You are not your data. You are not your engagement metrics. You are not your algorithmic profile. You are a conscious being with free will, creativity, and the capacity for growth and change that no algorithm can fully capture or predict. The algorithms want you to forget this. They want you to internalize their judgments, to see yourself through their lens, to accept their version of who you are. But you're so much more than what can be measured and monetized. You're a universe of possibilities that no neural network can fully map. So here's what I want you to do. After this video ends, before the algorithm serves you the next piece of content, take a moment, close your eyes, breathe, remember who you were before the algorithm started watching. Remember what you cared about before the metrics. Remember what brought you joy before the dopamine hits of notifications. That person is still in there. That human being who exists beyond the reach of algorithms, who has thoughts and feelings and experiences that can't be digitized, who has a soul that can't be sold to advertisers. Protect that person, nurture them. Don't let the algorithms convince you they don't exist. And then make a choice, a real human choice, not what the algorithm suggests, not what would get the most likes, not what would optimize your personal brand. Make a choice that comes from that deep human place that no algorithm can touch. Maybe it's finally having that difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's starting that creative project you've been putting off. Maybe it's reaching out to an old friend, reading that book that's been sitting on your shelf, taking that walk you've been meaning to take. Whatever it is, do it without documenting it. Do it without sharing it. Do it just for you, just for the human experience of it. Reclaim a piece of your life from the algorithmic web. Remember what it feels like to exist without being watched, measured, optimized. This is how we resist, not through grand gestures or revolutionary acts, but through small daily choices to remain human, through conscious decisions to value what can't be measured, through stubborn refusal to be reduced to data points. The algorithms will keep evolving, keep getting smarter, keep finding new ways to capture our attention and harvest our data. But so will we. We'll keep adapting, keep resisting, keep finding ways to preserve our humanity. It's an arms race between artificial intelligence and human consciousness, and I'm betting on the humans, not because we're smarter or faster or more efficient than the algorithms. We're not, but because we have something they don't. The ability to choose meaning over optimization, to value the unmeasurable, to transcend our programming. We have souls, consciousness, the spark of something greater than the sum of our parts. And that's the real secret life of algorithms. They're powerful, invasive, manipulative, and increasingly essential to modern life. But they're also limited, mechanical, soulless. They can predict our behavior, but not our potential. They can optimize our experiences, but not give them meaning. They can connect us to information, but not to truth. So yes, be aware of the algorithms. Understand how they work. Protect yourself from their worst abuses, but don't let them define you. Don't let them limit you. Don't let them make you forget what it means to be human, because in the end, that's all we have and all we need, our humanity. Our messy, inefficient, unpredictable, beautiful humanity. The algorithms can take our data, our attention, our privacy, but they can't take that, not if we don't let them. Thank you for watching, for staying with me through this long, strange journey into the algorithmic heart of modern life. Hit like if this opened your eyes to something new. Subscribe if you want more deep dives into the hidden systems that shape our world. Comment below with your thoughts, your fears, your hopes for our algorithmic future. But most importantly, after you do all that, step away from the screen. Go live your real life. Be human, be unpredictable, be free. The algorithms will be waiting when you get back. They're patient. But for now, for this moment, you belong to yourself. Peace out, fellow humans. Stay weird, stay conscious, stay human.